All right, guys, welcome back to another interview. I am joined by Helen. How's it going?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. We just chatted before we were on air. You talked about the restaurants that you wanted to visit this weekend.
Oh yeah. I haven't looked at the list yet, but tomorrow morning is weigh-in. I'm usually one of the first on the scale because I'm small for the weight class, and also that
Yeah,
gives me more time to rehydrate. But tonight, when I get bored because I won't be able to have dinner, I'm having a small lunch in a little bit, and then that's it, like just a piece of chicken and lettuce. And then from tonight to weigh-in, I'm just gonna be making my hit list. So the places I'm gonna go eat at, to enjoy. There's so much more food here in Orlando than it is in the Midwest.
yeah. If
I
you
am
don't
looking
understand Helen's
forward to
background,
it.
yeah, if you don't understand Helen's background, she's a professional chef, so that's why she wants to visit these restaurants. So you we sat there, you would checklist, ticking it, making sure it's all good.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I haven't been in a coastal state in a while, so the seafood's got to be awesome around here. So, and you can eat more of it. You don't want to eat a piece of steak and then be full. No, 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 no. I know how to manage myself. I'm gonna try to stuff my face to full capacity tomorrow. It's going down.
Yeah, we'll get into more about that. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the fighting, the aspect, and firstly I want to talk about your BKFC, your bare knuckle experience. I just wanted to dive more into that. What can you take away from that experience? Obviously, helping you move into well, as you were in MMA before you got into BKFC, but what have you taken away from that bare knuckle experience to help you continue with your MMA career?
Oh, it actually helped me a lot because a lot of energy is spent in the cage when you're out there. It comes from overreacting to things because you don't want to look bad in front of the world. You don't want to get hit. So you're constantly overreacting, and people spend so much energy doing that. But because I've been bare knuckle and I've been hit extremely hard by the champion, I learned that we're not as fragile as we think we might be. And I know how much I can take. So I don't react so easily to feints. And that helps me save energy. And it also puts me in a better position to counter. So I usually wait until the very last minute to move. That's why it looks a little like sloppy and like I move like an ape. But it's just because I'm only reacting for what is there. I'm not planning the little technique when I'm gonna I slip and I'm gonna switch my feet. I don't care. I'm just gonna get the fuck out of the way and then punch you back.
I love it. I watched it on BKFC and obviously talked about you fought the champion, champion then anyway. And obviously you went to another. You had some great success. Is there obviously we're in the PFL now? We're having that opportunity. We're in MMA. But is there something in the back of your mind that maybe you'd like to go back because obviously you had some fantastic success.
Oh, absolutely. Bare knuckle is very, very easy. I know it sounds weird to say, but it's really easy to train for that sport because it's only striking, and I'm already a striker. MMA is really heavy on your body because of all the wrestling and the joint
Mhm.
manipulation. That's how you get hurt. You don't get hurt striking. You might get a black eye, but you really get hurt when you're doing jujitsu and wrestling. That's where you get hurt. And MMA, the training is so grueling. So I'm focusing on MMA right now, but I would love to make a quick stop on 2023 to go visit BKFC and beat shit out of.
Just at the punchline. Hello.
Yeah, somebody was calling. I blocked the call just now.
Right at the punchline. You were literally about to call someone out. You said you're gonna beat the shit out of someone, then it boom.
Oh, okay. So it was Christine who called me probably. No, I said I need to go back to BKFC, even if it's just for one fight this year. I think it'll be good for PFL and BKFC to have that little bit of like cross promoting. It's a different sport, so it wouldn't really affect PFL if I lost in BKFC because that's a different sport. And I think I can bring fans from one promotion to the other and so forth. I think it'll be a good thing. So if PFL has a downtown for me this year, I like to be busy. I think it will be good to set up a fight where the champion in BKFC. I don't even want the title; they can keep it. I just want to beat the shit out of her. She can stop using my name.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously BKFC and PFL. PFL. We'll talk. We'll move on to that. The PFL debut, the promotion in the last few years. They've really come leaps and bounds. They've grown significantly. What's it going to mean for you? Obviously, making your PFL debut for another big promotion. I know you've been on Victor, you've been on Tough, you've been fought for the UFC, you've been for LFA. The list goes on and on.
Oh, it will be really nice to be part of their first. This is their first flyweight.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
time they put it together. So they're by bringing me in, they're definitely laying a strong foundation. I might be a little biased towards myself, but I am very excited about it. The only thing I don't like, I found out yesterday, is that who gets the contract? It's pretty much a popularity contest. I did not know that. I have 5 followers on social media. I might as well just stop now and go home. Like, who's gonna vote for me? I have like 5 people that follow my page. I'm not really big on social media. I was hoping it was all about skills. So we'll see. I mean, maybe if I do something extraordinary, I'll get some votes. But like most of these girls have thousands of followers. I can't compete with that.
Well, Caitlin, you're obviously your friend and of the girl you've been around with this week. She has 1,000, so she's just gone again. Are we back?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your picture is frozen, but I can hear you.
All right, okay. I can see it on my screen, so we'll continue with it and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so as you were talking about followers, and obviously we talked about Caitlin, she has 110,000. So I hope it's not that way.
I hope so too, but that's what I heard. I heard like it's about vote. Like the people are watching have to vote, and people are like, "Oh, it's only the fans that are watching." I'm like, "Yeah." When you go fight, all these girls post a picture saying, "Watch the fight and vote for me," and I'm like, I have like 5 people that are gonna vote for me, and I'm probably one of those 5 people. So I'm just hoping that my performance is good enough to change some people's mind, and then that I will get in. But
Well,
I was
yeah,
really, I would have preferred if it was just about skills. Like you fight, you win, you do something good, okay, or whatever it is, and then you get in. But like this whole voting thing, that's what I hate. Like most of my career is always being about like who's more popular, and I fucking hate that. I just want to fight. I'm a fighter. I don't do any of this cute girl on social media thing. It's not my thing. But there's other aspects of me that you could promote, you know.
yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the PFL debut versus Lisa Mauldin. Talk to me about what you expect from her as an opponent. Obviously, she's been around the regional scene throughout LFA, like yourself as well. Talk to me what you expect from her on fight day.
I heard she's a striker, but all I'm expecting from her is to try to close the distance and take the fight to the ground, where she might think she has a better chance. If I was her coach, that's what I will tell her. You know, I'm known for having heavy hands. I know she's a little bit bigger than me, but everybody I fight is bigger than me, so I know she's probably aware of that if they did the research. I haven't really watched her fights yet. I'll do it tomorrow when I'm happy after I eat all my delicious food, because you know I had so much more to learn for myself, things I needed to work on, that I didn't need an opponent to like train. Like, oh, what does she do? I have things that I have to work on myself anyways to be a better, well-rounded fighter. So I only focus on those things, not on her, because you know your opponent can change last minute, and you know things happen. So I focus on myself, not on her. I saw her a couple of times around the hotel. She looks a little big. Hopefully she makes weight, and then we'll take it from there. We'll see what happens when we're there in the cage.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great fight. But there was the one thing that popped out to me straight away was that obviously your big stage experience, as I talked about, your BC, your Invicta experience, your BKFC experience, your UFC experience. Do you see that becoming a factor on fight day? Because obviously you've had that big stage experience, you'll be more comfortable, should we say, than more than her.
I don't know. I'm always comfortable, even if I'm fighting inside a closet, you know. And I've always been the underdog. So like I'm used to walking in places where people are like really loud for the other girl, and I always find a way
Yeah.
to win. So I don't expect her to be intimidated by that. If anything, I think she should be motivated by that. It's like, oh, okay, you think this Helen chick is gonna win? I'm gonna show you wrong. That's the attitude I will take if I was her. Like, just fight. Forget about the lights. It's just me and you in there. And I do want her to do her best, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I notice that when I'm pushed, that's when I do my best work. If my opponent slacks, then I slack for some reason. But when I'm pushed and I get hurt, the moment I get hurt, I immediately go caveman. And that's when things get interesting, you know. So I am hoping she'll bring it. So my message to her will be, don't worry about the lights. You know, it's just you and me in there. Nobody can help me the same way nobody can help you, except for the ref, you know, if somebody's dying. But other than that, just go and leave it all out there, because if you don't leave it all out there, you will regret it later. It's better to go home and be like, oh, for example, for me, if I lose, I lose. But if I were to lose because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, I will be beating myself up over that for a long time. So it's better to just go out there, do your job. Don't worry about the haters. Don't worry about who's watching. You can ignore the cameras if you want. It's just you and me. Just look me in the eyes, baby. I'll guide you.
So you've talked openly. I've seen on a few interviews about growing in 2022, becoming a better version of yourself, becoming a better fighter. So what can fans expect? Obviously on fight day, maybe. What am I trying to say? What can fans expect on fight day for you to get your hand raised? As you talked about your growth and becoming a better fighter.
Well, I'm trying to. I have only been able to do this twice. It's when you find that state of flow when you're not thinking, and you just it almost looks staged because I move slower, but I'm always where I need to be. So I'm gonna try to recreate that without just scope of words there. I do want to end the fight with my hands, like or kicks, because I know the fans like a knockout, and this is about both and popularity. So I'm trying to get that done, but I'm not pushing for that. So, like, say she goes for a sloppy takedown and she lifts her neck out, you might see a submission. I do work a lot on my grappling. I just don't promote it because I like to be known for my hands, so that these girls feel like they have, a safe haven on the ground, even though it's not necessarily true, but that they don't see me grappling. So usually that way it lets me know what their game plan is going to be. All the time I know what it is, because that's the only option they got left.
Yeah, my next question was going to be how is the fight going to end? But you pretty much put that down to a T right there.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, I think it's silly when people go in like, I'm gonna do this spinning kick or something. You have to be in the moment. That's what makes the best fighters. If you're able to disconnect from people's expectations and what you want and what you want the result to be, and instead focus on that moment, you're more likely to get what you want. And it's hard to do because I've been trying to do that, replicate that for a long time, and it's really hard to do. But I'm gonna really, really try to just let go of all attachment or expectations and just go out there and be myself.
Yeah, and if all goes well and you do get the win and you do get the contract, what would that mean? Obviously, signing with the PFL, becoming maybe a longer term home for yourself.
Oh man, if I get the contract, I'm gonna totally let that go to my head. Because I do want that milli, baby. I can use $1 million. I've never made a dime out of fighting. Yeah, we do get paid as professionals, but the way I see it, it's just a small fraction of what I spend to get to the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting reimbursed for some of my expenses most of the time that I fight. So, like, it would be nice to finally see something out of it, considering how much I sacrifice and how hard I work. So that would be nice. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, the PFL are doing fantastic. As I talked about in recent years, obviously, if you look at their come up and obviously how well they're doing, obviously they just announced that flyweight division. So the fighters like you have probably got their eyes light up, and they want to get themselves into that mix. And if you do get that contract, I mean, it's going to be a fantastic season. I know we've got over here, we've got a few European fights, but yeah, it's a fantastic show. It's a fantastic promotion, and I'd love to see yourself, Caitlin, all get in the mix of it.
Oh yeah, and then there will definitely be a rematch with Kayla, and I believe she's gonna win her fight. She's a tough girl. She's a great athlete. She's really strong for the weight class. So I'm expecting her to win. I'm expecting myself to win. So we should definitely meet down the road. I think I need some closure, and I think the fans who watch that fight also need some closure, because I don't think she won that fight. I think I won that fight. But
yeah, that's another story for another day.
Exactly.
We'll move over to we talked about it before, but I don't know, we talked about it briefly, but I want to talk about obviously professional chef. Talk to me how you got into that, how long you've been doing it, and what type of chef you are. I know there's different chefs, but let's talk about what type of chef you are. So how long you've been doing it, how you got into it, and what chef?
Well, I became a chef by accident. I needed a job, and I had a cousin who was one of the chefs at the Museum of Modern Art. They have a restaurant there called the Modern, and they have a cafe, they have a terrace, they have different places for food there. And I wanted to be front of the house because when I was a teenager, I didn't, I was all about my hair and my looks. I was always a cute girl, and I always had a lot of girls, so I didn't see myself wearing a uniform. But they didn't have any positions open for front of the house, and I needed money. So the pastry chef took me in, and she let me, but I was really good with chemistry, and it was cool. I was getting ready. I was training to be a forensic scientist. So baking a cake when you can make aspirin is actually pretty easy. So I became really good at baking. And then finally, the chef that was in charge, she was able to go on vacation and leave me in charge. I would run the entire building plus caterings at the same time. And I had the energy because I was young, and I would just like run all this stuff and everything at once. People are like, how are you doing this? I'm like, dude, I can make aspirin. I can definitely make a cake. And I got really good at that. And I was like, you know what? I don't like front of the house because I hate people. So instead, I can be in my own little world in the kitchen, and I can do 20 things at once. I got over the uniform, then I started to make it look good. I was like, all right, I like this. Then from New York, I moved to Fairfield, Iowa, and there I met the program coordinator for Indian Hills Community College Culinary Arts Program. And he hired me because of my experience in New York as one of the instructors. So I became more of a culinary arts instructor than an actual like chef for hire. I also work at a few restaurants around the area, but mostly for consulting. And I haven't done any of that in the last 3.5 years because I decided to focus on training, because this is not the kind of career you want to half-ass. You don't want to be bad at fighting because the consequences are too great. So I just completely detached myself from teaching culinary arts in any capacity, and now all I do is I train, I sleep, I work, and I repeat over and over again until I get what I want.
If there was one restaurant that came towards Helen with an offer, what restaurant would you like that to be?
Oh, I'm never working in a restaurant anymore. I don't like it. I don't like working at restaurants. It's too much work, too little money. I wouldn't mind owning restaurants. I wouldn't mind managing them, but working like on a, no. Instead, I'm going to take my culinary arts skill into the meal prep for athletes type of venture. I'm more into that because I've learned a lot, mostly to trial and error. But I learned a lot through my career. So I'm definitely see myself working with one of those meal prep companies, and even for regular people who are trying to get into a better diet. And the focus of that will be, or the aim is to present common ingredients and cook them uncommonly well so that the price are not so high.
So you're actually saving money as a fighter because obviously you're a professional chef, and so you don't need a nutritionist.
Yeah, well, I couldn't afford it anyways. But although this time I have someone send me a care package for rehydration. But no, I don't need a nutritionist. I learned kind of how my body works. Being a chef alone won't help you. I have done a lot of research because as a chef, we're trained to make things look good and taste good. As a nutritionist for fighting, you have to time those things very well to make sure you get to the way you need to get at and then gain it back. So it's a complete different science, but I have been studying it. I don't plan to go into that until maybe 5 more years from now. So there's no rush. I have plenty of time to educate myself better and learn more about the subject.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really interesting. Obviously, I hope that goes well as well. But when you was a chef and you was cooking, or even now, what was your favorite dish to prepare?
Wow, that's a hard one because I will always just ask people what will be like their favorite food. And because that's the thing, what makes a dish good is whether or not the person you made it for like it. You know what I mean? But I'm very good with like cooking steaks. It's easy for me to do, and I'm very good at getting it at the right temperature. I love cooking fish. Um, Desserts, that used to be my strong forte for years. But then I moved more into the savory part because, also to cook for myself, cook to other people. But I would say meats. I love eating meats and seafood.
Yeah, I was just thinking that obviously you've been on a UFC tough reality TV show, and obviously you had that experience. I was thinking in an alternate universe, imagine this is like, figuring this is me imagination in my head. Could you imagine, right, if is it Gordon Ramsay Master Chef? Imagine they came to you. Would you appear on the Master Chef and Gordon Ramsay?
I don't know, maybe if it doesn't intervene with my training schedule. I would definitely do that, especially for now. I really need to focus on this stuff. I'm 34 years old, so I'm getting a little older for this sport, so I want to focus on that. But if it's like later on, yeah, for sure. So get your face out there, and now that it is all about likes and follows and all that crap, so it would actually help me on social media. So yeah, I'll do it.
I can't remember what the reality TV show is called. But what's that? Sorry,
Shopped.
I can't remember. It could be. It's where all these chefs come on and they appear to be on the chef and then become the best chef, and whoever is the best chef goes to his restaurant.
Oh, I don't know which one it is, but that's not the one I thought. But
Oh.
yeah, there's a lot of those, but I don't want to work at a restaurant. Like, no, I want to be a sports manager after I'm done with my career. I want to help fighters with like have with their nutrition. So that kind of thing. Everything I do from now on is going to be related to mixed martial arts. Having that as a backup will be my way of not sticking around too long, which is what happened to most people. It's like, this is so exciting. There's no drug, and I've done a lot of different drugs that can replicate that feeling of you walking into that cage, man. That feeling of getting your hand raised. And we become addicted to that. And that's why a lot of people stay too long in the sport to the point where they leave with CTE, because they don't know how to like get that back without having to be themselves in there. So I'm trying to set myself up so where when I figure that I need to stop, I'll still be around that. So it will be less painful of a departure, less painful. So I don't go into withdrawal from MMA. So everything that I do after this is going to be MMA related, just so it helped me cope with the fact that I won't be able to do it myself any longer.
My mind's gone blank. What was that reality TV show called? Gone Rosie. Hell's Kitchen. There we go.
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen. There we go. Sorry, you froze, and I was speaking to my head, and Hell's Kitchen. There we go. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah. So I was thinking in my head of what the TV show called, because it baffled me. It was Hell's Kitchen. So I found it, but yeah, I was catching the last bit. Obviously, I have one last question for you. Obviously, you talked to me about PFL. We talked all about it, but honestly, the last few words about the fight, and obviously how you feeling right now, and obviously what would it mean for you to get your hand raised? So let's talk about the fight. How you feeling right now, and obviously how you're going to feel afterwards.
I feel really good right now. The weight, I mean, I don't really have to cut weight, but so easy. I have like 4 more pounds. I have 4 pounds that I have to lose.
Wow.
I had dinner last night, and I'll probably have a small lunch now, and then I'll wait until later tonight to do it, so that way I don't feel dehydrated for too long. And then weigh-ins tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I'll try to be one of the first people on the scale, and then I'm gonna go hit some restaurants and get some delicious food in this belly. And then the day after that, well, then it's time to shine. You know, I plan to come out of there as a winner. I'm going to try to make it an impressive fashion without having to push anything. You don't want to force anything. You want it to let it flow. Like the best finishes are done so smooth. They come out of nowhere. Those are the ones who knock you out. So I'm not going to press it too hard. I'm going to just take what is given to me and create those opportunities and be able to capitalize. But you have to be just relax. Just let it, just let it be. Don't worry about the lights or anybody else.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Helen, for an absolute fantastic 15 minutes, 20 minutes that we've been on air. I wish you the best of luck in 2 days, February 24th. It's coming so close. So thank you so much for joining me. An absolute pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you get a win.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.